Hey everybody, Jeff Beckley with Beckley Associates, helping you focus on what matters most. We're here at Beckley Associates. We actually will help you focus on what matters most today by focusing on the exciting area of business documentation for business bank accounts and credit card accounts. So with that, I'm going to launch right into kind of our company overview and a little bit about what we do and why we do it. So here's our legal disclaimer. What follows here is meant for educational purposes. You can read the rest at your leisure. But moving on to our why, we really strive every day to help our clients realize their dreams. That is the most important thing that we do. We're awed and grateful by the trust that our clients and our employees place in us. It is a great responsibility, and it inspires every important decision that we make every single day. So with that, I'm going to launch right into bank account documentation. So 3 areas that I really want to focus on today. How do you account for your bank account transactions, your credit card transactions, and your cash transactions? Well, your bank account documentation starts with the bank statements. Keeping copies of your bank statements, though, by itself will not constitute audit-proof evidence that you have incurred certain expenses. You will really need to keep track of your expenses. Now, the bank statements can support the claim for deduction, but by itself, that will not necessarily stand up in a court of law. So you want to make sure you keep copies of receipts. We don't typically need those to prepare your taxes, but the IRS might need them, especially for those important large expenditures that are incurred. Keeping a copy of receipt, a digital copy of receipt is acceptable, so scanning them and then keeping them on a digital file is certainly an authorized or approved way to document your expenses incurred through your bank account. So the second area that I want to focus on is your business credit card. Credit cards, like your bank account, come with statements. Keeping copies of the statements is good, but it is not enough evidence for IRS documentation purposes. You need to try to keep copies of your receipts, especially, again, on those very important expenditures. We don't typically need the receipts or the statements necessarily to prepare your taxes, but you would want to keep copies, at least a digital copy of those receipts. Sometimes you might want to make notations on what the expense was related to. For example, a meal expense, you might want to jot down the purpose and the folks that you met with during a lunch appointment, for example. There are other kind of contemporaneous pieces of evidence that can help support a deduction. For example, your calendar book. In some sort of mileage log. Those can also prove that you went to a certain place or you visited a certain job site and certain expenses were incurred. And so the last area that I want to focus on here is cash. And so really on cash, I think about this in 2 forms. In the form of receiving cash, you want to keep a cash receipts book and make sure that you document those receipts as you receive them, most often evidenced by receipts or invoices that are paid. If they're paid by cash, you want to note that they're paid by cash and be able to trace those through to your bank account. I recommend that any cash receipts that you receive, you deposit to the bank so that you establish some sort of an audit trail for that cash income. But the more kind of risky area of cash is going to be on cash expenses. Now, we recommend trying to avoid cash at all costs if you can, to cover your expenses. However, if you have to use cash, the only real proof that you're going to have is going to be through a receipt. Now, you can also maybe establish some sort of evidence that you paid cash through a typed or handwritten note. You might want those to correspond with certain calendar events. So again, you can build a case that cash expense was actually incurred, but the receipt is going to be the most vital piece of evidence for cash documentation. So that really kind of summarizes the most important aspects of bank, credit card, and cash transaction documentation. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us through our website at beckleycpa.com, or you may reach out to us through our Twitter page at The Taxman, and that's 2 X's, TAXXMAN, the Taxman, on Twitter. Thank you for listening, and again, I hope this helps you focus on what matters most. Have a great day.